Hey man, I got that new TMX Thrustmaster wheel. It's going down.
Xbox One?
I can't wait to play when I get home.
You'll let me play?
Yeah, I'll play first. Yeah.
You know, I'll race it for it.
Well, I have to hand you.
Nice one, man. Keep it up.
Whoa, Reese!
Oh no, big mistake! Edwards! Go back last and down to no, now he gone for it. It has been an absolutely astonishing season.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Formula SimRacing Pro Championship. This is round 4 from Canada at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve, the very picturesque circuit actually on an island in the middle of a river in Montreal. And we're currently just almost 5 minutes into qualifying, currently with Ivanov topping the session. The driver running, he's running 6th in the championship at the minute, so this is a good result for him so far. And joining me in the commentary box today is Peter Schulze.
Yeah, welcome everybody.
So, hello Peter. It's an interesting track, this one, isn't it? Have you? What are your views on it? What are you expecting?
It is a pretty tiny track, I would say. Walls everywhere. It's a pretty hard start and stop track. You're slowing down much, have to accelerate hard, and yeah, there are walls everywhere basically, and you need to do perfect laps, otherwise you will end up in the wall pretty fast.
Certainly, and I should also give a little shout out to our cameraman as well, Victor, I believe, who is of course going to be, well, providing the pictures that you see on your screen, and leading you through this 75% race length is going to be me and Peter Schulze. I'm the commentator, Joshua Perry. Anyway, we are just over 15. Well, we've got just under 15 minutes left in this session. It's currently Ivanov topping the session, followed by Cian White, and then Polamaros Sarantidis. That's a little bit of a mouthful. Francesco Morante is in 4th, followed by Mirko Lupini, who appears to have stopped on track, actually, and I think you have to make it back to the pits before you go out for another attempt. So hopefully Mirko Lupini can make it back in, but he doesn't appear to be going anywhere there. 6th is Gerlof de Vries, followed by Cameron Roger, Tiziano Briani, Jackson Wendt and Tom Lomberts make up the top 10 out of the 28 drivers who are on the grid for this race. In terms of the championship, go ahead.
I was just about to say, Luca Di Emilio is currently in the third sector on his fast lap. In the last few races, he was always fighting for the win. So let's see if he can nail the last chicane. Oh, a bit of oversteer into the wall. Let's see what he does on this time.
Okay, well, Emilio. It is actually Bolton, yeah. So despite the little mistake at the final corner, still puts it up to the top of the order for now. Actually, that was a bit of a clout into the wall, wasn't it? I've just seen it on replay. I'd be surprised if there wasn't any suspension damage as he crossed the line there. That was a bit of a hit, but got away with it and put it to the top of the order.
Still managed to set a purple last sector. We currently have Lawrence Doherty on the lap. Set a purple sector in sector 1. He's on his way to the slow hairpin right now.
This is Doherty's first lap in this session, of course. Doherty, the driver, currently in 7th in the championship. He's been quicker than that in qualifying, constantly up the front of the field. So Doherty, certainly one driver who I'd expect to make his way through the order. This is his first timed lap, so our first indication of where he's actually going to be. Doesn't quite touch the wall on the exit, that's good. You have to get it very close but not quite touch it. And that puts him, 4th, so good lap there from Lawrence Doherty. And that's his first timed lap there to put him just behind CM White, just ahead of Polomaros Sarantidis. In terms of the championship, it's currently Tiziano Brioni leading it, although Brioni in this session still only 11th. So still plenty of time to be gained from Brioni there. Second in the championship is D'Amelio rather. He is D'Amelio, there you go. He's currently at the top of the order in this session and second in the championship. And then Tom Oldenmenger, first time saying that name, in third. Although I haven't seen Oldenmenger in the server quite yet. So
no, he's not attending today. It's not a racing hard.
Right. So we've lost the championship contender there, and that's a shame. But anyway, Oldenmenger, we hope will be back for future rounds. Cameron Roger is 4th in the championship, followed by Valerio Nicolella, or Nicolea it should be, I think. Ivan Leonov is 6th, Lawrence Doherty is 7th, 8th is Jackson Wendt, 9th is actually a tie between Philip De Vries and Mirko Lapini at the minute, and that makes out the top 10 drivers in this championship. So we have just over 10 minutes remaining in qualifying now, and I've just seen CM White starting another lap. He's on the purple compounded tyre, so that's the Ultrasoft, I believe. And, well, he's going to be hunting down the leading two. Currently his best lap is only just over 0.2 of a second off.
Yeah, and it's also Sion's first outing here in FSR, I think, at least in Pro this season. He didn't do a race yet, it's his first race, and so far it's looking quite good for him on pace.
Yeah, the flag-to-flag orange driver, currently in the second sector of the track, just going up towards the hairpin at Lapingle. Touches the apex quite early there. That's a little bit of an unusual line there. Normally the drivers like to touch it later and get a quick exit, but obviously White doing something slightly differently there. It certainly wasn't an outrageous line. There are a variety of different lines you can take through that. Now through the very fast final chicane, up by the Wall of Champions, Quebec Wall, and across the line. What's the lap going to be? It puts him to the top of the order, so very good lap, 1:10.081. And that's a very fast lap from CM White, who is actually just less than 1/10 of a second ahead of Luca D'Amelio Luca D'Amelio rather, in second position now. So all to play for at the top of the order.
Yeah, it looks like most of the top 10 or top 15 are currently waiting in the pits, waiting for better track conditions or better traffic, so we don't have that much going on right now. I see Ivan Leonov is on an outlap, as well as Luca D'Amelio. I think Lawrence Doherty on an odd lap as well, so we will have plenty of laps starting very soon.
Certainly. And, well, I'm most interested in Ivan Leonov here, of course, because Leonov has been showing a lot of pace. He was definitely one of the quickest over the last couple of rounds of the championship, and now appears to have found even more pace to be right up the front of the order. So certainly a lot of pace behind the wheel of that NetRex Grand Prix car. So here he comes, Leonov, just about to start his flying lap, and well, I'd ride on board with this one. This is going to be a flyer, I'm sure. Turn 2, variety of lines again. Run it out to the outside curb. There we go. Feels really nice when you put the power down through there. Here's the very, very fast first chicane. Gear 5, I saw he took it in. I certainly couldn't take it in my academy car that I was racing with the other day. Now through a little bit wide through the second chicane, but he gets it to the outside curb and gets the traction down. Now towards another fast chicane. It's all about fast chicanes in this track. Late braking, a bit too late, gets it over the curb sideways. This has been a little bit of a messy lap from Leonov, and he's abandoned it. I expected he would, and Leonov obviously deciding that lap wasn't worth continuing, and I think I might have cursed it a little bit.
And right behind them we have Luca Di Emilio. He is green in Sector 1, green in Sector 2, so personal best in both sectors out of the happen now.
He's going for pole, I tell you. He's got a car giving him a lot of slipstream up ahead, and yeah, Emilio very fast first and second sectors. Here he comes through the third sector. Now more slipstream from Logger ahead, and across the line it is pole. I expected it would be by as near as makes no difference, a tenth of a second. A 109.982. He's the first driver below the 110s, and that's a fantastic lap from Luca D'Emilio, but Lawrence Doherty goes to the top of the order now. So Doherty demoots him by 0.02 of a second. Lawrence Doherty, top of the order.
Oh, and Kieran Wright was also on odd lap, but he got a lot of oversteer out of the second chicane and had to abandon his lap.
So Lawrence Doherty is currently at the top in the ACR car, Avicronic Racing, and he's actually leaving the pits again for one last attempt at a flying lap. ACR, of course, the team we always have to look out for in this series. We expect them to be near the top, and indeed they are at the top once again. The other car for Avicronic Racing is Mirko Lupini, currently running in 7th position. And then we also have two more Avicronic Racing drivers further down the field, racing for slightly different entrants in terms of the team name. We've got Eugene van Logerenberg for Avicronic Racing SimSport, and then we have Tank Applegate for Avicronic Racing Engineering. Oh, here's a picture. Doherty and Leonov just went side by side on track. That was Doherty trying to get out of the way of Leonov, and Leonov might feel that he held him up a little bit there in the second part of that corner. He might feel that he...
Sorry, they're actually both on an outlap, so even Leonov was going for track position there.
Okay, yeah, it just looked... Well, he was obviously doing a much faster outlap, and that's fine. Obviously, both trying to find the track position in different ways, but yeah, certainly makes a good picture when you have two championship contenders and pole contenders side by side on circuit at any point in time.
And look at Emilio just starting another hot lap, going through turn 2 now. Let's see if he can put his car back on pole.
Yeah, Emilio is, well, he's just going through turn 5 now. That's a difficult one, because if you get offline, I mean it is flat, but if you get offline, you often lose a lot of grip there. And I found that in the race I did here the other day. Lost on cold tyres on the first lap and substituted wall there, and from the rest of the race it was a recovery drive. But yeah, that was a bit of an embarrassing one, and it's an easy mistake to make, I'd like to think. Turn 6, of course, is where Sebastian Vettel very famously lost the lead of the Grand Prix in 2011 on the final lap. That, of course, in very wet conditions, although it is like a plate through there, both corners of the turn 6 and 7 chicane. Because if you just get off the rim, which is the racing line, you slide down. And Luca D'Amelio now about to cross the line. He's getting a little bit of slipstream and DRS from the car in front, and we get DRS anyway, but it was not a quicker lap. And
But
D'Amelio...
Lawrence Doherty is uphill and he put it into the wall of champions.
Oh, well,
Lawrence
yeah.
Doherty was about to improve his lap time, but yeah, he got caught out by the wall of champions there.
That was a large hit, and that's a shame for Doherty because he was going to go faster. Of course, he's still on provisional pole position, but this might worry him a little bit because he might not. Well, he's going to get a chance for one more lap, but needs to be careful here because, well, his main rival is only 0.02 of a second behind him in terms of lap time. Just looked like he carried too much speed through the chicane and well, got eaten by the barrier on the exit, as we've seen so many quick drivers doing in the past. You really have to push it through there, and that's why the champions get caught out. It's because those are the ones who push it. Anyway, looking down the order, there aren't many drivers up the front currently on laps. That's because they are just in the pits preparing to set up for the last lap. Now they're coming out to the track. Doherty, D'Amelio, White, they're all going out for one last attempt. So I can see that...
User disconnected from your channel.
Matthew Toussaint is on a quick lap. Not on for pole, of course. He's currently running 18th. But it does look like he's going to jump a couple of positions with this. Maybe up into 17th if someone moves out of them. He's now down into 19th position. I believe that was Costas Galanoumatis. No, I don't think it was. But anyway, Toussaint out of the final corner. Little bit of lag, pitches his car sideways, and across the line it actually puts him 14th. So a much better lap from Toussaint to gain 5 positions there and to jump just ahead of Arat Kulak, who is currently 50. So less than well, about a lap's worth of time left to go in this session. That means if you need to set another lap, you have to start it, well, in the next minute, basically. He certainly can't be in the pits at this time. Bijan van Logerenberg attempting to improve his lap. He's just going down into the final chicane, currently in 21st position. This does appear to be a quicker lap from him so far. He crosses the line, and it was no improvement, and that's it from Logerenberg. And now we cast our attention up the field. Kev Brooks is on a lap, coming down into the final sector. We're just waiting for the leaders to start setting laps. White is on one, and Doherty has just started one as well. Just going to see what Kev Brooks' lap was as he goes out of the final corner. It moves him up to 8. But now the big guys are on laps. And D'Amelio has actually dipped 2 wheels into the grass there, so losing a little bit of momentum with that. I'm watching White though. White is further ahead in the... No, Emilio is further ahead in the lap out of these guys. So Emilio is going to be the first guy to watch here. He's just exited the Lapingal FN. Looking at live timing, fastest of these 4 drivers has actually been Doherty, but the fastest compared to their previous best is Leonov. So there are a couple of drivers to look out for here. D'Amelio tapped the wall on the exit. It's the top 4 going for pole position now. D'Amelio, oh, so close! 109.967. That puts him 6 thousandths off Doherty's lap, but he's not there. And White has stuffed up the final sector. White has gone straight on, and that is White's lap over. What about Leonov? What about Doherty? Doherty is weaving across the line. Doherty will not go any faster. Doherty has, well, I don't know why he gave up on that lap there, but he's abandoned it. Now it's all down to Leonov. Leonov coming across the line. What's the lap going to be? It is an improvement, but he's not improved in terms of position. He's still in 4th position behind Xian White. So it's Doherty, D'Amelio, White, Leonov, Sarantidis, who make up the top 5. Then Lapini, De Vries, Brooks, Morante, and Brioni. So Tiziano Brioni, our championship leader, only in 10th position. He will be absolutely devastated with that performance. So Brioni is in trouble here at the circuit de Gilles Villeneuve. He's not got the hang of this car.
And I think that's pretty surprising seeing the so far, because Tiziano, I should say, sorry, was always up there. He was always up with the leading top three, I would say. That's very surprising, really. He did a spectacular job last race in Paul Ricard, where he had a mistake on his first pit stop, lost about 15 seconds, and still came back to win the race. And yeah, it's very surprising.
I've just been sort of given a friendly nudge about
User joined your channel.
The name Matthew Toussaint. It's Toussaint, I believe, not Toussaint, because that would be if he was French, and he's not French, as far as I know. So he's, yeah. So I've been pronouncing that slightly wrong, but you know, but okay, yeah, he's British, so that would be Toussaint. Or Tussin? No, that would be two S's. Never mind. Okay, so we're going to go for a brief warm-up session now before the start of the race. 10 minutes, and then we will be heading into a 75% length race. So that's 75% of a Grand Prix. Oh, and I'm being nudged again. Apparently, Kian White is pronounced Kian White, not Sia. So, okay, well, teething troubles, but I'll get into it. Okay, so as I said, at the end of qualifying, it was Lorenz Doherty at the top of the order from Kian White, Luca D'Amelio, Ivan Leonov, Polamaros Sarantidis, Aaron Roger, Kostas Galanomatis, Gerlof de Vries, Mirko Lapini, Francesco Moranti. Just looking back further, then we have. My stream's going weird. I believe it was Tiziano Brioni who took 10th position there, unless he got. Yeah, it was Brioni. So Brioni, our championship leader, as I said, almost 8/10 off the pace. That's a little bit of a dodgy one there from Brioni. And behind him, Cameron Roger. Cameron Roger will be disappointed with that. In 11th, Jan Vosnicker, Jackson Wendt, Matthew Toussaint, Arik Kulak, Tom Lomberts, Kostas Galanomatis, Frank Godrecki, Gerard Batala, Roma Tising, David Santos, Yushin Van Logerenberg, Edward Batala, the other Batala, the two of them are brothers, if I remember correctly, Mihalo Vicetijevic, I think, and Claudio Cunha, who make out the 25 drivers that I can see on the brief bit of information I have available there.
So I think we're about to do a little advertisement break, and we will be back shortly before the race will start. See you soon.
Hey man, I got that new TMX Thrustmaster wheel. It's going down.
Xbox One?
I can't wait to play when I get home.
Yo, let me play.
Yeah, I have to play first.
You know, I'll race it for it.
I have a hand.
big mistake! Edwards got back past and down to 9 every corner.
It has been an absolutely astonishing season.
Alright, so we're back, just over a minute of warm-up remaining, and then we're going to be heading to the grid for the start of this 75% Grand Prix, so 75% of a Grand Prix. And, well, I think it's about time to talk tyre strategy. That seems to be a recurring theme in single-seater racing as a whole, and Formula Sim Racing, of course, has all of the available tyre compounds that we have in other top-level single-seater series. So we're being joined now by David O'Reilly, who apparently has done over 400 laps on this server. So he's someone who knows what he's talking about when it comes to tyre strategy. Hello, David.
Yeah, hi Joshua. Unfortunately, my 400 laps of practice didn't translate into me getting through pre-qualifying. I was the fastest loser, so figured I'd come in and give you a hand. So thanks very much for welcoming me. Yeah, this is a pretty dramatic track on tyres. There's so much slowing for chicanes and accelerating out of very slow corners like the hairpin, the turn one complex. and it's as a result, the car tends to lunch its rear tyres very quickly. And as it does, of course, it goes into a very, very nasty oversteer situation. So I think we're going to see a lot of drama, for that reason, and also for the reason that drivers are going to get dramatically different tyre life. You'll have guys that get 11 laps out of a set of ultras and guys that get 14 laps out of a set of ultras. And it opens up a very pronounced potential for an undercut, because with all the acceleration from low speeds to high speeds, it magnifies the fuel effect. Whereas a circuit, say like Spa, where you've got, long high-speed corners and you're not constantly having to move that inertia of 100 litres or 80 litres of fuel, whatever your remaining tank level is, from sort of a third gear chicane to top speed, this dramatically increases the effect of the undercut, and it's a short pit lane. So I think we're going to see quite a lot of drama surrounding the pit stops, personally, Joshua.
I wouldn't be surprised, because I know how difficult it is to drive a car when the rear tyres are going off so dramatically compared to the front tyres. It's all about the balance there. But so what tyre compounds are actually available today?
We've got available to us the Ultra Soft, which is the purple sidewall tyre, the Super Soft, the red sidewall tyre, and the Soft, which is the yellow sidewall tyre. And most of the drivers, I think, will aim for a two-stop. But you might have some guys that decide that they're just not working that well for them in terms of durability, and you might see those guys go for a fairly aggressive, potentially a three-stop strategy, majoring in the ultra soft tyre. And I mean, on a lot of circuits, if the rears start to go away and you've got throttle oversteer, you can manage it because you've got aero loads helping you and you've got long, steady-state corners. But here at the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, you are so often accelerating out of a slow chicane or a hairpin that if your rears start to go away, the car can so readily swap ends. And this circuit's a bit like Monza with walls. So if it starts to go wrong, it can go wrong very, very horribly. So, that's a little bit of a perspective on the tyre situation. The drivers can, of course, adjust rear anti-roll bar late in the stint. So if the rears are starting to go away, they can soften the rear anti-roll bar and get some of that back.
Interesting take on it. Of course, this is a short race compared to Grand Prix, so it's not often that we see things like three-stop strategies. But if you think that is what's going to happen today, then that's certainly something to look out for. Of course, we can see that a lot of the guys up front of the order are starting on the ultra soft tyre, as they normally do, because those are the tyres that are ideal for qualifying. The top driver, who is not on the ultra soft tyre, is actually Cameron Roger in 11th, and that might be why he wasn't as far up the order as we normally see him in qualifying. What sort of a strategy do you think? What sort of sneaky thing do you think Cameron's going for here?
Well, it's a bit of déjà vu from the last round in France, Joshua, because at Circuit Paul Ricard, Cameron did a sneaky strategy with the harder compound, and it really stood him in good stead. I think he climbed from mid-teens up to 4th or 5th place at the end of the race. So Cameron, he's going to have a chance to jump people when they pit, and if he's got good pace and good balance, pace and balance on the super soft, it's going to take the other guys a bit of time to come back at him, especially as his fuel load lowers. So, yeah, I guess he's looking to jump some people at the first stop, which might occur anywhere between lap 11 and lap 12, and go long. And perhaps potentially drop a stop. I wonder if he'll be as aggressive as going to just a one-stop, going super soft and soft, which is not outside the realms of possibility.
Well, thanks for that. We'll be hearing from you later on in the race as well, I believe. Anyway, through the grid order, we've got Luca D'Amelio leading it around, and Luca did not qualify pole. Where's Lorenz Doherty? I believe he might have actually had some sort of penalty there. So,
grid penalty, Joshua.
Yeah, grid penalty. So
D'Amelio
is going to be starting on pole position here, ahead of Kian White, Ivan Leonov, Polomaros Sarantidis, Mirko Lapini, Lorenz Doherty, 6th position, so it was a 5-place grid drop. Kurloff de Vries, Kev Brooks, Francesco Moranti, and then it's Tiziano Brioni, our championship leader, and I'm going to race through the rest of the pack. Roger Vosnica, Wendt, Tucson, Kulak, Lomberts, Galanomatis, Godrecki, Batalla, Tissin, Santos, Van Logerenberg, the other Batalla, Edward Batalla behind Gerard Batalla, Vincentievic, Kuna, Vesley, Wilson starting from the pits, Salvado, Rian Metz also starting from the pits, and Applegate lining up the 30 drivers on this pack. Now we wait for the lights, and when the 5 red lights have come on, well, here they come, and when they go off, we will start this race. So watch them and go! Away we go. It's a difficult run down to turn 1 here at the Circuit de Gilles Villeneuve, but it's D'Amelio on the inside line. But actually, look at White. He's actually held it on around the outside line there. So White moves it up into the lead of the race. Cian White leads us down into the first far chicane. And third place is going to be Leonov. So good start from Leonov ahead of Doherty. So Doherty's made up 2 places. Oh, wow, what a start for White to go around the outside of Luca D'Amelio. And then it's Leonov, whoa, who actually gets very close to touching the wall on the exit there. Doherty, Sarantidis, Roger, Lupini, De Vries, Brooks and Morante. But Brooks and Morante are side by side now. In fact, so are De Vries and Lupini. And someone's running straight over. That's Brooks, who's having to straight line the chicane there. And what a start from Cameron Roger as well. He's made up 5 positions already on a track where overtaking is seen as notoriously difficult. There's been a couple of, well, as I said, there have been a couple of drivers starting from the pits, and we've lost Brioni.
Yes, I was on board for that, Joshua. Brioni got a tap in Sector 1. Brioni himself made a fabulous start, gained 2 places in the first complex, but got a tap in the turn 6-7 complex and was spun and lost the front wing. So terrible shame for him after a great start.
Oh, it was De Vries. It was. It looked as if, yeah, they just sort of came together through the chicane. Obviously, Brioni didn't know that De Vries was there. De Vries didn't know that Brioni was coming over. They made contact. Brioni has unfortunately been tipped around into a spin. He's hit the inside wall, and he's tried to get it going, but, well, he's out of the race. So Tiziano Brioni, our first retirement, and let's not forget, he's the championship leader. Now into the pits on the first lap of the race was Francesco Morante. So Morante, who'd been running in 10th position, has pitted without a front wing. Now, where did he lose that? It was earlier in the lap, of course, down into... oh, he lost it really quite a long time ago. It was down into turn 6. Actually tagged the back of Mirko Lupini. Oh, no. Well, he tagged the back of Kev Brooks, in fact, as Brooks was backing off to avoid the spin ahead of him. So, yeah, what a start.
Yeah, very dramatic. Brioni gambled, and for the first sector, his gamble was looking fantastic because it was a magnificent start, but it gets very hectic in Sector 1 there, and unfortunately came to grief.
And now we have lost Tank Applegate, who has flipped, and that looks like a lag issue. Big lag issue coming out of turn 7. It was Claudio Cunha who just sort of glitched into him, and unfortunately Tank Applegate, the unfortunate victim, who has gone for many, many tumbles there, and that is his race. Come to an unfortunate end, unfortunately early. But anyway, it's Cian White leading the race, followed by Ivan Leonov, who has got ahead of Luca D'Amelio. So there's been a move there, and I'm just going back to check where that happened. Was it into turn 1? Yes, it was, with Leonov poking to the outside down into turn 1 and doing a Cian White. No, he was ahead before the braking zone. Now that's interesting. D'Amelio he just obviously didn't have the speed down the straight, and Leonov absolutely blasted him.
Yep, must be running lower wing, which, and there's 2 approaches to this track. A bit of extra wing to give you good stability in the braking zones, and hopefully you'll have DRS, or low wing for just natural top speed on the track. A bit more tyre wear. But the big winner out of this, I think, is Cameron Roger, sitting in P6, and he's lapping at good pace now. These super softs are coming in.
I tell you what, D'Amelio almost got passed by Doherty down into turn 1 on this lap as well. So maybe that straight down into turn 1 is a tough point on the track for this or a Miller Grand Prix car. But yeah,
we might have a look at their top speeds, and of course Doherty will have DRS this time around, if I'm not mistaken. So D'Amelio might be a sitting duck, which in terms of championship implications, Cameron Rogers sitting in P4 and Luca D'Amelio sitting in P2. So I'm sure Cameron would like to see D'Amelio denied some points.
Into the pits comes Claudio Cunha. Now that's very early, but remember we saw him getting involved in that incident. He doesn't. Oh, is that a drive-through? Yeah, I don't think he stopped there. So Cunha has just pitted, of course, due to the damage, I think. So maybe he sped in the pit lane or something like that. But anyway, he's taken his drive-through and he's back on the track, well and truly in last position, but still running. So that's good to see.
In the meantime, the stars have aligned perfectly for Doherty because he got a DRS shot on D'Amelio. He didn't get close enough to attack him under brakes, but of course he's got this lovely situation where he's on the slower of the two tyres, but he's getting a DRS tow through the straights from the driver in front, who is on the softer compound tyre. So
Doherty's on the ultra
soft.
soft.
Oh, pardon me, I was thinking of a different driver. But certainly, yeah, Doherty's Doherty's in a great position to attack perhaps next time round.
Well,
Cameron Roger
so.
dropping off the bus a little bit, you'd expect on the super soft tyre.
Of course, the difficulty with running behind the car in front, that although you get massive amounts of gain on the straights due to basically using the car in front as a wind block, it is difficult to follow through the corners, and it can sometimes eat up the tyres as you're having to use more grip to keep the car doing exactly the same things you would be doing otherwise, and as a result, tyres do seem to go off quicker when you're running behind someone. But still, Doherty sticking with D'Amelio for now. And as they head down the straight, this is where D'Amelio struggles, and Doherty goes to the inside. This is third position. Oh, they bang wheels, but Doherty is going through on the outside. They bang wheels again, and he's round.
D'Amelio spun him.
Spin.
Oh, dear me.
Oh dear, and now look at Sorrentidis, who is right behind D'Amelio. I have no idea how D'Amelio wasn't hampered more by that, and in fact Roger had a good recovery, just slammed on the anchors and brought the front of the car back round again. But the two of them have come together, and Roger's been sent for a spin, and he will not be happy about that. That was well, I don't mean Roger, do I? I mean Doherty.
His car appears to be undamaged, so apart from perhaps taking a bit of life out of his tyres and a bit of thermal deg, he might be okay, but certainly very frustrating having pulled off that move to have your right rear tyre tapped by the person you've attacked. So, but he's still got 4 wheels on his wagon and still in P6, and plenty of laps to go.
Well, I've just had a look at the replay. It looked very much like a racing incident to me. It was just Doherty came in, D'Amelio came out, and around went Doherty. And Leonov now is within DRS range of Kian White to the lead of the race. So Kian White is coming under pressure now from even Leonov. Leonov has been charging for a couple of laps now, and now the battle is on. So Leonov catching our race leader. He let him get away for a couple of laps, mainly because he had to at the start of the race. But now that he's grouped himself in and got everything together, he can really concentrate on attacking Kian White. And of course, with the DRS range, it might well be that he has a look next time they go down the long back straight, or possibly into turn 1. They both seem to be very good overtaking opportunities. Whatever the case, it's getting close for P1.
Yeah, Kian White's underlying pace seems to be a couple of tenths slower than Leonov's, but I've got to tip my hat to this guy, Kian White. I don't know anything about him at all, but he had to come through pre-qualifying, and he certainly announced his arrival with this stunning debut in Formula SimRacing Pro.
Well, certainly indeed. He's opened the DRS now. He's getting closer. Of course, not close enough down into that difficult and very fast final chicane, but he's certainly still there as we head down towards turn 1. It'd be madness to try it from that far back, and he doesn't. There's been some sort of incident. We're seeing a couple of drivers dropping down the order. David Santos has stopped. He's missing his front wing. There are more drivers losing places as well down there. I'm just going back to see what happened to David Santos, who has now retired from the race. He has made contact with someone, I think. He lost control coming out of the chicane at turn 9, I think. And who's collected him there? It was Edward Battalo, who actually went straight through him. But What's that? Oh, Doherty's out! What's happened to Doherty? Laurent Doherty has retired from the race. He was fighting for high positions. He was running in 6th position, and now he's retired. Now, what's happened there? I'm just going back on replay to see if I can spot what has happened to Laurent Doherty. It was at turn 2.
There was
Big
an
attack for the
incident.
lead.
turn one.
Attack for the lead. Leonov on White, gone around the outside into the final chicane, and White has very aggressively asserted his position. And Leonov decided discretion was the greater part of valour, and
I
it
don't know
allowed
where
him
to
through
look.
without contact. A very well-judged driving from Leonov, I must say.
Leonov had a big twitch midway through that corner. I've just gone back to have a look at what happened to Doherty. It was last lap going into turn 1 with Cameron Roger.
No, it was an incident with Gallifreys. I just looked at it. They were side
yeah.
by side on the main straight, and there was a bit of contact, and Lowens got spun out and hit the barrier in turn 2.
Yeah, it was with De Vries. It looked like De Vries was going for the move up the inside, and yeah, I take you've already seen this on the stream. This is just me reacting to it late. It looked like, De Vries expected Doherty to turn in sooner than he did, and kind of came across and took the normal line, and Doherty was still there, and there was slight contact. Doherty slid across the infield. He was lucky he was lucky there was no one there to collect, and backed it into the barrier, and that was that for Laurent Doherty, who has had a disappointing season so far compared to his pace. He's had a lot more pace than points, and that is proving true for this round as well. Wow, drama at the early stages of this race, and still the leaders are close. The gap was 0.8 of a second as they crossed the line there. Of course, last lap they went side by side down into the final chicane. Leonov, he didn't have the line and ended up going slightly sideways and giving the place to Kian White, not voluntarily, but Leonov still right behind him, still sitting right where he needs to be within the DRS range, and the slightest of errors from Kian White will give even Leonov the lead of this race. So Kian just needs to keep his head clean at this point and make sure that absolutely nothing goes wrong. It's White from Leonov from D'Amelio, and what's happening further down? There's a big pile up. Jan Bosnica and Kevin Brooks have spun. Oh my word! In fact, Jan Bosnica has jumped up in the air. Now Brooks lost control of the car coming out of that's turn 4, backed it or nosed it into the wall, and whoa, my word! There's a bit of lag involved there because
I think Leonov has got White. Big DRS attack into the final chicane, and this time he's well past all. Oh, White made a dramatic move then.
And White's in the pits.
White's going to be in trouble for that because he went around from the right-hand side of Leonov's line into the final chicane, and from that point entered the pits. And that will certainly come to the attention of the stewards, because that is totally contravening the rules.
yeah, absolutely. I tell you what,
You can't enter the pits like he did.
Leonov was going to turn in at that point. I'm so glad he saw him in his mirrors. Look at that! If you watch the onboard from on board Leonov there, that's ridiculous. He just kind of shoots straight through. Oh my word! If Leonov had turned in like normal there, then he certainly would have collected the rear end of Kian White's car. And White was actually all 4 wheels off the pit lane as he entered it. That was ridiculous.
Yep, he couldn't have done that in a more dangerous fashion, and no matter what happens on track, he's no longer racing for the lead, because I think that will attract a minimum of a 10-second penalty for that. But certainly he's got the pace. He's just got to work out some of the finer details of staying within the rules, and he'll be competing for podiums for sure. But wow, Leonov's heart rate must have jumped to about 200 when that happened.
As for the accident that I was talking about earlier, it was Kev Brooks who lost it out of turn 4. Jan Vosnica spun it around and bounced up in the air after getting connected with the barrier. And also out of the race in that is Jackson Bent, who just sort of collected both cars. Had Vosnica landing on top of him. So we've had a couple of retirements down there. Brooks is out, as is Wendt. So
Tissing just got a clean DRS shot on Batala for P11, but Batala has entered the pits in a slightly more conventional way than White's earlier efforts.
And Vincentijevic has just passed Morante for 17th position as they came out of the Lapingo hairpin as well. So a couple of moves still going on wherever you look, as Chiara Battalla exits the pit lane. He's going to rejoin in about, is this going to be about 19th position? It's going to be probably 20th. 18th, just ahead of the Eidos car of Frank Godrecki. Not Eidos though, I should say. It's actually now, well, the team's now going to be known as Schubert Racing. So, and yeah, that is the Schubert team that races the Honda in the ADAC GT Masters Championship.
Roger has
to
just
third. Oh,
yep.
Sorrentidis pits rather. So they were side by side down the straight. Roger got the DRS and pulled to the inside of Sorrentidis, who then immediately left his braking late and dived into the pit lane. That was another close one, but that one was fair, of course. And Roger, well, now has third position.
And Roger is flying. I just had a bit of a look at lap times, Joshua, and Roger is now lapping quicker than the two guys ahead of him on track, and they're of course approaching the witching hour.
That's the
12
tire
laps
life.
in on their ultra softs.
Yep, that's the tire life. Of course, Cameron Roger on the super soft tire, catching the very worn ultra soft tires ahead of him, and Roger actually has a proper sight at the leaders now. He might actually take the lead before the pit stop stages. Well, he will, because the two cars ahead of him are going to pit before him. So Cameron Roger will take the lead of the race, but whether that's effective or not, we'll have to see when the strategies all sort themselves out. Of course, with multi-strategy racing like this, it's often very difficult to tell who's leading.
And Leonov going
pits
around for another lap, so certainly he's getting pretty good tyre life out of these ultra softs. And the other thing that we haven't touched on, Joshua, which gets really interesting as well, this track, because it's so much a case of braking and accelerating, it's very marginal on fuel. The guys have got 53 laps and they've only got 106 litres of fuel, and they've got to deal with the formation lap. So they've got less than 2 litres of fuel per lap, and they've basically got to measure that out with the fuel mixes that they use. So if somebody gambles too hard, gets too aggressive early on in fuel, that can come back to bite them later on when they're going to have to fuel save quite massively.
Yeah, so we just saw even Leonov making a pit stop. He's coming out in 5th position on the soft compounded tyre, which, confusingly, is the hard compounded tyre compared to the other tyres we have here today. So Leonov has exited the pits, and this lap, I can very much imagine we're going to see Luca D'Amelio making a pit stop as well. His pace has dropped. Cameron Roger is in his mirrors. If I was D'Amelio, I would be jumping into the pits right now.
So Leonov, of course, is behind White, who we saw the interesting pit stop manoeuvre from earlier, and it's going to be very intriguing to see how Leonov decides to deal with White. Although White, of course, is a quick driver and he's on the super soft, Leonov may not catch him on track until fairly late in the stint. De Vries into the pits.
Yeah, and D'Amelio stayed out. So De Vries pits from what was 3rd position, maybe not effectively. He's gone onto the super soft tyre, so we're seeing difference in strategies on the 2nd stint as well, with Leonov going onto the soft tyre and De Vries going onto the super soft. So maybe Leonov's going to make one fewer pit stop than De Vries does.
Pretty close battle for P14, Vesely, Wilson, Morante. Morante has a DRS run on Wilson, but his discretion is in order entering the final chicane. So those three are covering about a second on track.
Yeah, always great to see 3 people fighting, and look at Morante going to the inside of Wilson, which is going to turn into the outside, but he hangs it on actually. Look at that. So good move from Morante. They're both on the soft compounded tyre, and actually Morante's getting away from him here. So that was a good move there to, well, hold on no matter what side of the track he was on, and through he went. And into the pits now comes Luca D'Amelio. So D'Amelio is in the pits from the lead of the race. Cameron Roger goes through to take the lead on the super soft tyre, as D'Amelio pits after 14 laps of racing. He's just gone on to lap 15. Out of the pits he goes. He's on the soft tyre, just like Leonov. So he's reacting to Leonov's strategy, and well, has he got ahead? I think he has. Where's Leonov? Where is he? No, Leonov's already gone through. He's miles up the road. So Leonov, I was looking behind just expecting to see Leonov coming through quite close to D'Amelio, but it looks like with the extra lap on the fresher tyres, Leonov has pulled miles ahead of D'Amelio. There's a car separating them, Mirko Lupini in 4th place.
Yeah, that was a good strategy from Leonov. And it looks like Mirko Lupini's pace went off a bit. He didn't have a good in-lap. His last few laps were around the 16-second mark. So he may have just pushed it that little bit too far on the previous stint.
Oh, now that three-way strap we were talking about has turned into a four-way with Morante, Beasley, Wilson and Battalla, Gerard Battalla, who pitted quite recently, I think. And they're all very, very close here. In fact, Battalla tried to make a move on Wilson down into turn 1 and almost got it, but they're still running together. And, well, he's going to the inside, but that's a difficult one to make into a very fast chicane. His next proper opportunity is into Lapingle. He's going to the outside, which is actually going to be the inside before that due to the curvy nature of the track. He's ahead before the braking zone. And Battalla gets up into 15th position, which of course is the last point scoring position in a Formula Sim Racing race.
Now I think Battalla might be on fresh tyres as well, and he's on the fresh super soft, and the guys he's racing are on the soft tyre. I'm just going to look back at his pit strategy and
he gets Beasley. So Battalla passes Beasley into the final chicane, and Beasley again is now under attack from Wilson. Into turn 1, there was a difference in lines as Wilson showed himself to the mirrors of Beasley's car, but in the end put himself on the worst line and of course had to back out. Lost a bit of time there, I think, but still running with him just outside of the point as there's contact between Vincentijevic and Godrecki, and they're in the wall. Vincentijevic loses his front wing and actually goes, he's just properly crashed it out. Obviously didn't know he'd lost so much downforce and he stuffed it into the tyre barrier. So Vincentijevic is out of the race and Godrecki will probably be damaged from that. He was rubbing along the wall for a very long time. And,
Roger has pitted from the lead and elected to take the soft tyre yet again, so he's liking the balance on the soft tyre. And he's in good shape.
Yeah, that's true. Cameron Roger just exiting the pits on the super soft tyre. And what?
Yeah,
Okay,
Roger
not
has
on my
gone
screen.
soft again. So he's gone from the harder of the three compounds, started on the soft, and gone again on the soft. Oh no, pardon me, he started on super soft.
Yeah, he did. Are you seeing the red compound?
He did. Yeah, he started on the middle of the three that they've got for this event, which was the super soft, and now he's gone to a harder compound, the soft.
Okay, I was a bit confused there because for me he was on the red compound tyre, but halfway through the lap it's changed to the yellow.
Yeah, sometimes takes a little while for the graphic update.
Okay, but anyway, Cameron Roger on the soft compound. After all, and now the order, of course, is Kian White up front. Although, of course, we're expecting he might get some sort of penalty for his pit stop. He, of course, went onto the super soft compound, so we were expecting him to come out ahead of Leonov, who went onto the soft, and indeed he has done. So White is leading effectively for now. Let's just assume it's effective. We can't assume he is going to get a penalty for certain. However aggressive that pit exit looked. Leonov is second, followed by D'Amelio. Whoa, D'Amelio gets very sideways. That was close. Touched the grass. He had a little spiral under braking. And then it's Soren Tidis, who is on the super soft and has jumped Cameron Roger, who is on the soft. It's De Vries, Galanomatis, Tisoon, Kulak and Pini who make up the top 10 after the first 19 laps of racing.
Now Leonov's pace has improved. It looked like he took him 3 or 4 laps to sort of get the grit balance working nicely on the soft tyre, but he is now matching White, who is on the super soft, as White just has a pretty scrappy journey through the final chicane. So Leonov is matching him and on the slower tyre. So if you're leading and the guy behind you is on a slower tyre and you can't pull a gap, that's always a bit concerning, because White, of course, his tyres will arrive at the witching hour before Leonov. White, if you'll recall, pitted 2 or 3 laps before Leonov and onto a softer tyre. So Leonov looks like he might have a chance to shine over the next half dozen laps.
and there was some sort of move up the front of the order. Now I'm not entirely sure what's happened. What's happened there? It was around about. I think it was Kulak getting past Teesing, so that was down the straight for 8th position. Kulak went up the inside, and well, through he went pretty straightforward with the DRS. But yeah, Leonov pace has appeared to have improved slightly, and I'm also watching 3rd position because we got Sorrentidis on the super soft, just behind D'Amelio on the soft, and going quicker. Now, Sorrentidis will have the DRS down this back straight. Let's watch this as Sorrentidis opens the DRS. Well, he will do when he passes the line. There we go. And now it's just about getting the drag on D'Amelio ahead. He's going to have another opportunity down into turn 1. He just needs to close in now. Gets it over the curb as they all do. Big twitch, big slide from Sorrentidis. And that's thrown away any chance of getting 3rd place into turn 1 this time around.
Yeah, certainly he's putting some pressure on D'Amelio. Was it D'Amelio who defended very effectively early in the events against Leonov? I'm not sure. Might have been White, so don't ignore me on that one. Cameron Rogers still sitting in P5 on his soft tyre. 3 laps into that stint, his pace is improving. He's in the mid-14s. To give you a bit of a contrast, White is running low 14s. And Leonov is currently running mid to low 14s. Looks like he's a bit of inconsistency with lap times. It's sitting on about 3 seconds behind White.
Right, now time for round 2 possibly. We're just heading out of the Lapingal hairpin, and Sorrentidis is again lining up to D'Amelio. He doesn't appear to be as close though, so I'm not quite as enthusiastic that he's going to get past D'Amelio this time around. He certainly looked like he had a chance into turn 1 last time before he had that twitch out of the final corner. But this time he's not quite as close. It's really just about sticking with him at this point.
Yeah, at this point I might just mention, if any of the viewers want to ask any questions, if you were in live chat, just use the hashtag AskFSR. Joshua and myself will do our best to answer your questions. Hope you're enjoying this telecast, and just to let you know, to even qualify to race here in FSR Pro is a pretty big effort, pretty big achievement. So you're looking at some of the best drivers in the sim racing world in the toughest sim, rFactor 2.
Into the pits, I've just seen Kostas Galanamatis as, 3 people just went side by side down into turn 1, pretty much. Teesing fighting with Kulak still. That's a battle that's been going on for a while. And just behind them, Lupini tried to get involved as well, and did get involved on the exit, passing Teesing. So it's now Kulak 7th, Lupini 8th, and Teesing in 9th. And that's a battle that just seems to keep springing up.
And Galanamatis, as you know, just went into the pits. He's come out on Ultra Soft. I think it's the only person I've seen take Ultra Softs mid-race. And he's facing Matthew Toussaint, who's on the soft. So I imagine he'll be feeling quite ambitious about his opportunities to attack Toussaint for P12.
Michael Wilson out of the pits on the super soft and in 18th position. Of course, if more attrition or worse strategies happen, worse strategies from the cars ahead of him, then points are still on the points are still possible for Wilson. But 18th position for now after a very close battle with Beasley just now. Beasley now under attack from Remitz for 16th as Teesing now pits. So that was a long stint from Teesing from what I can remember. And in he's come from 10th position to put on the super soft tyre.
Chian White's pace has eroded a little bit, and he's gone longer on this second stint. He did 10 laps on the first set of tyres, and he's gone 12 laps on these. Of course, it is a harder compound. It's a super soft compared to the Ultras he started on, but they are visually showing a little bit of wear. We might see White considering pitting sometime soon.
Well, one thing that I should point out is that Leonov was dropping back, so I think that White is actually holding more pace than it looks at the minute. Yeah, his times have dropped off a little bit, but actually looking at them now, they're still in the 114s. In fact, they have been for pretty much the entire race. That's amazing consistency. Now that I look at it from Kean White, rather, I'd say he's still got this yeah, I'd say he's still got a lot of pace in that car.
Yeah,
As
perhaps. I mean,
has
he
Ivanov.
was hitting a 114 flat. He's now getting only occasionally a low 114. So yeah, it's probably getting harder to get the good lap time as he passes Wilson to go a lap up.
Well, still, if you've got pace, you've got pace. As Francesco Moranti pits from 10th position, he's currently on the softs. What does he go on to? Of course, it's interesting that we're seeing some drivers going on to the ultra soft at this point in the race, or one driver anyway, because of course it sometimes is beneficial to go onto a different strategy to everyone else, just to sort of try something different and be doing something different at a different time to the others. I said different a lot because that's the key word there, and it does give you good track position sometimes. And as Peter just said, yeah, Kian White has been into the pits, and he's putting on another set of, or a set of super softs. So Kian White exiting the pits now on the super soft compound of tyre. Even Leonov now leads the race.
So that says to me, Joshua, he's on a 3-stopper because he went 10 laps, then he went 13 laps. In another 13 laps, of course, he's still not anywhere near the end of the race. So White's on a 3-stopper. I think Leonov's will be on a 2-stopper. So yeah, White's gone aggressive on tyre strategy, and he's come out behind a pretty quick driver in Cameron Roger. And Roger is doing mid-114s. So this will be an interesting little battle itself as White attempts to regain track position and assert his battle to get back on the podium.
Alright, Kulak pits now. He's on the super soft compounded tyre, sitting in about 14th position. I think you're right to say that Leonov's going for a 2-stopper, because he, of course, has only pitted once at this point. He pitted on lap 13 after running the opening stint on the ultra soft, and it looks like he's holding the softs for a long time. He's done 10 laps on this, 11 laps now on the soft tyre now so far.
Big attack from White on Roger. Sorry to talk over you there, Joshua. Just
Right.
thought I should mention for P4, White got a DRS shot on Roger and pulled it off. Sorry to interrupt you.
Tell you what, it would have been highly beneficial for Roger if he could have held off White there, because the two are on different strategies, but they might well sort out into about the same track space. So that is actually quite a significant move there for the 4th position. We knew it was going to happen, as White is on much fresher and much faster tyres than Roger. But if Roger had held him off for a little bit further, then it would have given him a slightly higher chance of, in the end, possibly finishing ahead of White. It's still a possibility, but how long do we expect the soft tyre to be able to go for? Because Leonov's been driving them for 12 laps so far.
Probably up to 20 laps. And White, of course, if we're correct, and I can't see it not being the case, if White is, as we're saying, going for a 3-stopper, White needs to pull 17 seconds on Roger on track, because he's going to stop an extra time.
That's true, that's very true. So White needs to get ahead and a long way ahead of Cameron Roger. Roger is in a brilliant position here, actually.
He tends to plan, he tends to have a pretty good strategy in hand, Roger. And of course, if you were Roger's race engineer, and viewers might be aware that, or may not be aware, that a lot of these guys will have an engineer watching in TeamSpeak and watching all the data. If you were Roger's engineer, you'd say, don't hurt your race, let him go. He's going to stop twice and you're only stopping once, and he's potentially got a penalty. And of course, it's not our job. I'm not Vladimir Putin. I'm not going to influence the Justice Department by what we say on air. But yeah, it's highly likely he's got a pit stop and a penalty. So really, Roger's not racing White at all.
But don't forget, Kian White already has the pit stop gap on him, because Kian stopped twice already, Cameron only once, and Kian is still ahead of him. So he already had the has gap for his extra pit stop, if he makes an extra pit stop. But what Kian now has to do is get the pit stop winner on Ivan Leonov, because Ivan Leonov on the harder tire is going longer in the first stint as well. He will do one step less than Kian, I'm pretty sure. So Kian has to catch up to Ivan Leonov to get the pit stop gap.
Yeah, certainly looks like White is going for the 3-stopper, so you're right to say that Leonov looks to be doing one fewer stop, because White, of course, pitted and still had about 30 laps to go, and you can't do that on any compounded tyre. So I've just calculated for Leonov though, he's just about going to be able to make it to the end with one more stop. So yeah, I'd say this is all about right, and that even Leonov certainly appears to be on a two-stop strategy. Now that's interesting because it means that we have absolutely no idea who's leading the race until it all sorts itself out. But
well, let's see, Leonov pitted on lap 13, having done 13 on the ultras. So he's only 14 laps into the stint on a tyre that is 2 compounds harder. So if he can do 14 on the ultras, he can certainly do 20 on the softs, which gives him another 6 laps. 6 laps from now, he's a one stop from home, because it means he's managing to do 20 on the softs and he'll be 20 from home. So I think Leonov, it's a slam dunk for him. He's only going to stop one more time. So there's a lot of pressure on White. White's going to stop 2 more times.
That's true.
White now needs to get past Sarantides and Luca Di Emilio because he's catching up to them quite rapidly. He's already within a second of Sarantides, and he needs to pass both to get a chance at winning this race.
Just seen a pit stop from Jared Batalla. He has to do about 25 laps on the soft. It sounds just about doable, but he's just holding on to that last position in the points. It's getting close again for 11th position, as in fact the 10th position, as Tucson, Kulak, Van Logerenberg and Tiesin are right together on track. Oh, Logerenberg spins. Van Logerenberg is in the gravel. It looks as if he's just sort of tagged the rear end of Kulak's car going through the chicane, and Kulak also spun and just tagged the barrier, but it looks like he'll get away with it without any damage. So
it's a very, very tricky chicane to go too wide in. I would say almost impossible. And it looked to me like Leonov, Logenberg rather had hit limiter with his DRS attack.
And I'm wondering whether Van Logerenberg is damaged further, because he just lost it again coming out of turn 2.
And he's retired. He's retired the car.
Well, he very nearly hit the wall. Very, very nearly hit the wall coming out of turn 2 there. And it looks as if he's just realised that there's too much damage from that. And out of the race goes Van Logerenberg. So, well, 19 drivers remaining in this race now. Yeah, well, still the super soft on my graphic, but if you say it's the ultra soft, then it probably is. He is in 6th position, which has been the place he's held for the majority of this race. And again, Kian White still near the back of D'Emilio's car. He's certainly been catching him. So, well, there's a move.
He's going to have the natural pace here, because he'll get a bigger traction and acceleration on those super softs compared to D'Emilio on the soft. He's got DRS, but what of course is adding flavour to this as well, as White gives us a very dramatic race with such an aggressive pit stop strategy and brilliant fast driving, is this is going to have an impact on his fuel strategy as well. While he's battling fiercely to get through these guys, he's going to be turning up his fuel mix and potentially going into a negative fuel delta, which he will have to pay back eventually with a bit of fuel saving. But wow, he's putting D'Emilio under some pressure.
I've just seen a double overtake.
Ooh.
Look back at Michael Wilson about 40 seconds ago, down into Lepingle, going up the inside of Riemert, then seeing Beasley going wide and getting him in the process as well. So a good double overtake from Michael Wilson, and he's ahead of a chain of cars there, although several of them are lap down. Oh, in fact, several of them are lap ahead. Cameron Rogers coming through there.
Yeah, Wilson's got to move over now, which he's done very, very tidily to allow Roger through, who is sitting pretty in P4 with, I would say, one stop to go as well. So similar strategy to Leonov, although not having started on the ultras. So you've got to congratulate Leonov on the tyre life that he managed to get on those ultras. Running 3 laps longer than White has really put him in the box seat with regard to strategy.
So White is, of course, ahead of D'Emilio now, but D'Emilio on a different strategy, as as is the key word of the race, strategy. We knew it would be, with tyres going off quicker than some of these drivers would be expecting. But yeah, Cian White got ahead of D'Amelio down into the final chicane, just approaching the Quebec wall, and up into second goes Cian White now. Still leading the race is Ivan Leonov, who is very much treating this race as a project rather than a race, and he's working on it and just sort of running the car and running it nicely as well. Looks as if he's on course for that two-stop strategy.
So don't hesitate, viewers, if you have any questions, Joshua and myself will do our best to answer them. This car has 7 fuel mixes available and the boost mode, but that's almost a suicide button, that one. A few seconds of that and you're going to blow an engine.
Very much just kind of only when you're desperate in qualifying, sort of. I know the feeling.
Exactly. Tarantidis is just entering the pits from his super soft stint. I'll keep an eye on him and let you know what tyres he takes. Going the supers again.
Yeah, so Sorrentidis exiting the pits now on another set of super softs. And how many laps has he got left? Oh, 19. I don't think he's going to be able to do that. 21 rather, he's not going to be able to do that. So, although then again, we've seen a couple of guys setting up strategies that seem to suggest that the tyres are going to run for longer than they did earlier in the race. That might, of course, be because of the lighter fuel load. So it might be that if he's really, really careful with this, I mean, it would be a real push, but he might just be able to do it.
Well, it looks to me like he last pitted on lap 12, and if that's the case...
20 laps, there you go.
Yeah, he's managed to do 20 laps on the supers, which, can be done, but it depends on the driver. So it'll be a pretty impressive demonstration on tyre management if he manages to do it.
Well, that really is impressive, but he's making it work so far. Sorrentidis in 6th position, and well, that looks effective to me. So he's gained a lot of ground from the start of this race. Of course, he started in 6th position. No, he started 4th, but dropped back a bit at the start. Now he's really getting it back on the strategy, and certainly one of the prime drivers to watch as this race progresses.
So White is flying, doing well, anything as low as a high 113. Leonov on the harder tyre with less pit stops and longer stints. He's running in the mid 14, so White is certainly quicker than him on track. But is White not going to be needing a pit stop soon? I'll just have a quick look back at these numbers. Yeah, White stopped on lap 24, so 36 is probably going to be his natural pit stop. We'll see.
So a reminder then, after 34 laps, of course, there are drivers on different strategies, but at the minute on track, here's how the order looks. It's Leonov leading from White, D'Amelio, Roger, De Vries, Sorrentidis, Lupini, Lomberts, Gallimatis, and Tucson, who make up the top 10. However, I can see Francesco Morante just behind Tucson, so that order might well be shaken up a little bit very soon. It's certainly getting close, and Morante has been gaining for laps. I can tell you he was about 1.5 seconds behind really not that long ago, and oh my word, he's on the grass. That was a close one. He pulled out of the slipstream right as Tucson went to defend, and that was aggressive defence as well as an aggressive attack, and somehow it's worked, and Morante has gone through into 10th position. That was so close.
So White's got that gap down to less than 6 seconds now to Leonov. Now I wonder, Joshua, do you think White might even go for a harder tyre to just one stop it from here? He's got 19 laps left. Well, actually, no, he won't have to. 19 laps. Well, he's going to need to do longer than he has done on his previous stints on these tyres. So he's either got to stretch this one or go to the hard tyre. When I say hard, the harder of the 3 compounds, the yellow sidewall soft.
Yeah, the hard tyre, which is interestingly called the soft in this
exactly.
race, but you know.
we'll blame real life Formula One for that. I just never want to see the hyper soft.
Yeah, and I was speaking to someone the other day who said we should have a number system, kind of, 1 to 8, and I said, well, I don't want to be the driver who comes on the radio and says I'm coming in for a number 2. But anyway,
very good.
We've got 18 laps remaining in this race now, and well, that means basically 1 more stop for, well, pretty much everyone here. So keep an eye out. Tom Lomberts has just made his, well, what I expect will be his final stop. He's coming out just alongside Matty Tucson. They're going to run side by side down towards the chicane. He's still there, but he's going to have to back off. Surely that's not the ideal line, and Tucson gets 10th place.
Leonov has split from the lead to let White through, and you know what? I think that was a very intelligent call, because he was either going to have a dog fight, a knife fight in a phone booth with White for the lead, or just get into the pits, get some fresh rubber. And in fact, Leonov has gone for super softs now. So Leonov is going to be looking forward to having some great pace over these next half dozen laps. And White is going to need to pit very soon. So we are on for a really good fight for the win. Undercut very effective here because of the fuel load. I touched on it in the intro. As the car gets lighter in all these acceleration and braking zones, and there's plenty of them here per lap, you just have such an advantage. So getting on fresh rubber with that lower fuel load, lots of stopping and starting. The guy who pits first normally got the pace, but it's all about tyre wear. You can't do that all race long, or you're signing a check for an extra stop. So White is going to need to really push now.
And now Lomberts gets Tucson. Of course, he came out of the pits pretty much side by side with him. Tucson had the line, but because of Tucson's old soft tyres, he's well, given the position away, and well, now right behind him is a very aggressive looking bright yellow car driven by Roma Tsing. Have I been calling him Robert? I feel like I've been calling him Robert.
Oh, Cameron Roger has pitted for a set of tyres. I'll let you know what he takes. Yeah, but these guys are in for a real fight for P9, aren't they? Very exciting battle. 4 of them on the same bit of real estate. Okay, Roger's gone aggressive now. He's put the super softs on. So he's going to be going quick.
We've lost Gerard Battalla. He was on for 1 point. That's a lag issue. So Gerard Battalla has retired from this race due to a lag issue, and we now have just 18 drivers remaining.
Roma Tissing has a big DRS shot on Tucson, and I think he's going to pull that off with ease. Yep, nicely done before the final chicane. Massive anti-cuts on this last chicane. You can really destroy your T-tray if you're too aggressive through there.
Who spun? Oh, Tucson spun. So I was saying his tyres have been going off. I'm hearing a report, of course, that he's just had a spin. Well, it was a sort of half spin coming out of the final corner. Oh, he hit the wall, clobbered the wall on the inside. And of course, if he did pick up any damage from that, he's got the whole of the rest of the track to go around before he's able to pit. It doesn't appear as if he's got too much damage there on the Invictus racing car.
Yeah, he's not having to steer at an angle, which is the usual sign, to go straight, and he appears to have all the wings still on the car.
Still, not the situation that a driver likes to feel midway through a race.
No, indeed. It's almost as if he jumped the shock off the track in shock when the pass occurred. But not that I'm saying that did happen, Matthew. But yeah, not what you want to be doing, hitting the barriers with just less than 20 laps to go.
Getting a bit close for the positions right at the back with Remitz and Wilson. This is the on-track battles. Of course, we're expecting off-track battles as well in terms of fighting stationary cars through the pit stop strategy. But on-track, I think the closest battle so far, or at the minute, is Remitz versus Wilson for 14th position. And now White pits. We were expecting it to happen soon, and in he comes. He's on the super soft. He's on the ultra soft. He's on the ultra soft. So White is going to the end on the ultra soft tyre. In comes D'Amelio. as well. And I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting him to do one more lap. D'Amelio pits the car, locks it up, and he also goes onto the Ultrasoft. It is a straight fight to the finish on the Ultrasoft tyre. I was expecting the Supersoft, but obviously they feel the Ultrasoft can do 16 laps for the end of this race. And D'Amelio and De Vries, I didn't mean 16 laps, I meant 14. But that sounds about right, actually. So D'Amelio and De Vries, and White rather, now both on the Supersoft tyre, or the Ultrasoft. And when will Leonov and De Vries pit? In fact, De Vries has actually, he's between D'Amelio and White. So he's
Leonov pitted 3 laps ago.
Ah, right.
4 laps
you're
ago.
right. So Leonov's effectively leading.
Yep, so we've got a straight fight to the end now. A 4-second gap between them. 14 laps to play. And one difference between the tyre spec between the two, with Leonov on the second fastest tyre and White on the fastest tyre. Who's your money on, Joshua?
Oh, don't ask me that. Because whoever I put my money on, I'm sure will immediately have a lag issue. But anyway, Kjellhoff De Vries is, well, actually, he was... now, I saw him kind of weaving slightly as he went down the straight. Now, what he was doing there, he was telling D'Amelio behind that he was pitting. So he was basically saying, you go to the outside, or to the right-hand side, rather, I'm pitting. And indeed, he did. He pitted 10 laps ago last. Now he's putting on a fresh set of Ultrasofts. Out he goes again. And he's going to take this car to the end of the race. He's in 5th position, 6th position, because through have gone Lupini and Roger. I'm just checking to see if either of those drivers are expected to pit again. Roger will not pit again.
He's done his last stop.
Lupini will pit again.
I'll just have a quick look at Roger's pace. Yeah, Roger's running high 14s.
Tell you what, Lupini last pitted 22 laps ago, so Lupini has made these soft tyres last about what we'd expect as Tucson now pits. I'm surprised he didn't do that early because he was certainly struggling for tyre life. But now he puts on the Ultrasoft tyre rather, and out of the pits he goes for the final 13 laps of the race.
They just picked up a lap time on White. White's just done the fastest lap of the race with a 1:13.149, so he's absolutely flying on these Ultrasofts.
Let's not forget, he's on the Ultrasoft. Leonov is on the Supersoft. He's charging. This is a proper chase for the lead of the race. Forget all of the famous car chase scenes you've seen in movies. This is the new one, and this is the one that is going to be remembered for a while, I'm sure. Sorrentidis is now out of the race. So Sorrentidis, who was running 11th in these late stages of the race, I was praising him earlier for making up several positions. It looks like it was short-lived.
It looks like he blew his engine.
Yeah.
Which you can do if you either undercool them, if you push the cooling too far, or if you push the rev limit too hard, you can break these engines, just like in real life.
Well, it wasn't a catastrophic engine failure because it didn't just blow. He still had power as he was going down the straight. It was just very, very waning power, and he's pulled it over and stopped it.
Yeah, there was no flames.
17 drivers remaining in this race now. We're slowly ticking off names, and we have just over 10 laps of this race remaining.
So a lap Tucson between White and Leonov. White will be hoping for fantastic situational awareness from Matthew Tucson, and Leonov will be hoping for the opposite. He'll be hoping that no particular favours are granted to Cian White.
White gained half a second on the last lap. So Cian White has gained half a second on Leonov. He's gained another 3/10 just in the first sector. Leonov is, well, he's really coming under attack now. They've got Tucson between them. Hopefully Tucson gets out of the way nicely. But, yeah, it's really on for the lead now.
Tucson's going to give White DRS.
Oh, yes, yeah, never mind. He's got the DRS. You're right.
So he'll be thanking him. Yep, he flicks it open. Thank you very much, Mr. Tucson, because the system can't detect between someone you're racing and a lapped car, so he gets a lovely DRS tow.
But Leonov got the DRS too.
Let's look at these lap times this time round. This is going to be very, very interesting again. certainly the gap's going to come down, but not by much over that last sector. Last time around, another 0.6 of a second. So there's a half to 0.6 of a second. But you know what's going to happen is the White's tyres are going to start to degrade faster than Leonov's. So if Leonov can hold him off for another half a dozen laps, we might find, because White's taking these tyres a whole lot longer than he did on the first stint. And of course, you're going to immediately say, well, he's got less fuel and there's more rubber on the road, so the tyres aren't getting stressed as much. But it's White's going to want this done as quickly as he possibly can. And even 3 or 4 laps of fighting is going to help Leonov.
I've just seen the most bizarre thing. Have a look at Mirko Lupini's pit stop, his last pit stop, which was a couple of seconds ago on replay, and look at where he stopped. His pit box, for some weird reason, is before the pit lane starts.
That can happen, yeah. Sometimes these tracks don't have enough boxes, and the race director or the organising committee have got to build extra pit boxes. Yeah, a lot of these tracks won't provide 30 pit boxes, so you've just got to hope it's not out the back of the garages. That would be very inconvenient.
Over the last 3 laps, White has gained an average of half a second per lap. The gap is now 1.4 seconds. He's right to be charging now, because he needs to get past Leonov before his tyres degrade. So yes, he'll be pushing his tyres more now, but he needs to get past Leonov as quickly as he can. He knows that at the end of the race, Leonov will have the better tyres, so he needs to get through now. And that's why he's pushing, and that's why he's taking all of the time out of Leonov, and that's why Leonov, well, he needs to defend at this point, and, well, it is truly getting tense with about 8 laps of the race to go. Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, massive pressure on Leonov, and he's got to keep it cool, because if White gets the DRS,
he might have DRS here.
Tow from him, it's going to be all but impossible to resist him. He has got DRS.
He's got the DRS. It's getting really, really close. As in the background, do yellow cars go side by side. That's Kulak fighting with Tisung for 10th. But yeah, White really pulling in the gap on Leonov, and on that lap he gained another half a second. That is brilliant. What an amazing drive from White, and at this rate he's going to be right underneath even Leonov by the end of this lap.
Fantastic spectacle put on by these two tremendously talented drivers. And it's like playing chess at 200 miles an hour now. Leonov's thinking probably about fuel. White's thinking about tyres. Leonov's thinking, if he does get by, can I stay with him and keep a DRS tow and wait for him to run out of fuel or run out of tyres and attack again? And that's the sort of thing that, it's probably Leonov's only chance, really, is to stay with him and hope that White can't manage his tyres as well.
Just checking the YouTube chat. F1 Axion TV says, yeah, engine failure for Sorrentidas confirmed. Seems that contact with back markers created damage, so that can happen sometimes. But look at Kian White, getting Janetta flashbacks. But anyway, Kian White now getting a good run down the home straight on even Leonov ahead of him. And does he go for the move down into turn 1? No, that's far too far back. But next lap, surely he will hold with him until he gets the opportunity. And Kian White is absolutely going for it here. Look at this.
White stressing his car to the max here. Tyres, fuel. He is absolutely going like crazy to catch Leonov. 2 different strategies, 2 different drivers, 2 different tyre compounds. Leonov stopped twice. White stopped 3 times. And here they are to see who had the best plan and who had the best skill over this Formula Sim Racing Pro event of 53 laps. Fantastic racing. The gap now a quarter of a second. White's got to have him on under DRS this time round.
Yes, Peter. Well, it's a good call because he didn't. I was expecting him to get past him to turn 1 last time, but he didn't quite get close enough. But here he comes.
Yeah, so, our broadcast is pointing out he thinks that White is running a lot of downforce, and yeah, he hasn't got incredible top speed. Leonov may have enough top speed to fight him off. Certainly the first DRS zone is the place to attack. Here into turn 1, as Felipe Massa will tell you, is not a good place to battle.
No, certainly not. I remember that with Sergio Perez. But
So, you know, if Leonov has saved a little bit of fuel, if he's been quite cagey about his fuel strategy, he might be just able to whack the mix up to mix 5, 6 or 7 and defend on this straight. But White is all over him like a cheap suit at the moment. There is nothing between these two cars. Who will crack first?
of course, I always say that if you have to be quick in a straight line or around the corners, always go for the straight line because that's where you can overtake. But
well,
obviously,
the famous 4-time world champion Alain Prost concurs with you exactly. And in the old days of no Parc Ferme, he would always take some wing off after quali and not worry so much about the ultimate lap time. He'd want top speed in the bits where you get attacked.
well, of course, it makes sense. But here comes White again. He's going to get the DRS for the fourth lap in a row, I think. The gap through the last checkpoint was less than half a second, through the last sector rather.
Leonov is feeling confident because did you notice then Leonov didn't bother to put his car in the middle of the track to, force White to make a decision.
That's true.
He took the perfect racing line, and that tells me he's a driver who was confident that White was not going to get him on pure top speed. This is becoming very intriguing now because White's extra lap time was coming in clear air. And a bit like we spoke about a moment ago, White's got a car very quick through Sector 1, Sector 2. Leonov has trimmed his car out to be able to attack and defend on top speed. And this is just a fabulous and intriguing battle between these two drivers. And of course, White's lap time now is the mirror image of Leonov's because he can't pass him. Wow, wow, wow. 4 laps to go.
So, with Kian White, not Colin White, that's a Ginetta racer. Kian is, probably getting quite frustrated here because for even Leonov, it's all about just not making any errors, and he doesn't think that Kian can get him. And at this point in time, that does appear to be the case. So,
Leonov is getting great traction out of the hairpin. He's getting
really
fantastic drive onto the straight. And he's dropping White like an old newspaper until White opens the DRS, and he's just not getting that mega overspeed that he needs. And Joshua, what else is happening now? White's tyres are going away a little bit because he's been so aggressive.
Yeah, and he's in the turbulent air and all of that. He's using the DRS mainly to just stick with even Leonov. He's not actually been able to use it to attack yet. And although he's been really, really close to him, Leonov has just had the advantage, and it's going to take a mistake from Leonov now for White to win the race, but still incredible tension because when you get two cars,
I think White he's had that moment where, and goodness, I've just seen White did a 1:12.852 in this stint, and apologies to drivers like Lamberts, Lapini, Gallinamatis and Marante who are having a great little battle of their own. The fight for the lead is obviously the big one. Oh, and White's dived down the inside into the hairpin.
Oh, they made contact, but he's through.
A little bit of argy-bargy. Now,
he knew he had to do that because he wasn't going to get him on the straight. He caught Leonov completely by surprise.
And Leonov doesn't have DRS, but he's got a drag. He's got a toe in the slipstream, and he's all over White. This is not over yet because Leonov has the faster car.
And I don't know if he actually wanted to go for that move or if he was caught out by the braking of Leonov's car. But whatever the case, White is through. Now, that's an interesting one because Leonov won't be happy. He'll be using every racing driver excuse in the book. You know, he pushed me. He pushed his way past, and he's kicking it over the curbs now. So we've had a change for the lead on lap 51 of 53. Who would have thought?
I'm just going back to have a look at that actual overtake from the perspective of White. And he's just outbraked and parked it on the apex, and really nothing untoward. That was a textbook overtaking manoeuvre, really, from White. And there was a touch of contact there, but nothing that I would call untoward. But Leonov is right back on him now, and Leonov is going to have DRS, and with his lower drag aero setup, I think he's going to have White. He's gaining on him like nobody's business. Now White just got to play it clean this time. He put White under a lot of pressure there. By sticking to the outside, he made White take the final chicane from a less than optimum angle. And that is a fabulous way to put the other driver under pressure. He's done it again. Going up the outside has put White under mega pressure. And Leonov's going to pull it off.
They make wheel-to-wheel contact and Leonov is through. Fantastic. White's coming back at him. But look at that.
What
He's
an
had to run it
awesome
over the
manoeuvre
curb
from,
on the inside,
take
and
your
it
hat off
hasn't
for that
worked.
man.
Oh, wow, what a move from
Wow, that
Ivan
was
Leonov.
exciting, Joshua. Wow, indeed. Wow, wow, wow. Leonov played that like a game of chess. He forced White into some ugly racing lines by taking the outside of the track, and then took the advantage of White's less than optimum exit to put a beautiful attack into the first complex on the next lap. That was stunning driving.
And he's done it on the penultimate lap of this race. White is still right with him. What a day to forget my water bottle. White is right underneath the rear wing of Ivan Leonov's car as they head down the back straight towards the chicane. Again, Leonov just seems to have the advantage in a straight line. Fantastic move from Leonov. I was saying about someone earlier, he didn't care what side of the track he was on through there, but he was making the move. Leonov just absolutely showed that, and he is going defensive down in turn 1 here. But White not close enough. Leonov knows now that White goes for the interesting and unexpected moves, but no unexpected move was able to be pulled there on the final lap of the race, I should say. Final lap of the race, and they're separated by less than 0.3 of a second.
What an incredible dogfight between these guys. A heartbeat between them. 52 laps driven.
Absolutely fantastic. Here they come down the down towards turns 7 and 8. I meant 8 and 9. And now towards...
Yeah, the casino chicane.
That's more like it. The Pingle,
Now
the hairpin.
Vesely is going to give Leonov DRS here.
Yes,
And
yeah,
of
they're
course,
both
White
going to get
will
the
have
arrest.
DRS courtesy of Leonov.
There's an
But
Invictus
Leonov
car
is
ahead of
just-
them.
By accident or design, he's done this perfectly, because he is going to clear Vesely. And
Vesely needs
hopefully
to get out
Vesely
of the
will
way
be in the
here.
way of, Vesely could have
He
done a
doesn't.
bit more there to get out of the way.
And they're bunched up on the exit, but Leonov goes through, and he's going to win the race. Fantastic, look at that. What a battle we just saw. Leonov wins it from White. Fantastic. And it's going to be Luca D'Amelio who claims 3rd position. We thought he was right in contention for the win earlier on, but obviously his strategy just didn't pay off. We saw him dropping back when he went onto the soft tyre a lap later than Leonov, and he's just been dropping back since. But what a battle for the lead. And look at the lead gap at the end of the race. 0.269. Utterly brilliant.
Incredible. Cameron Roger just crossed the line for P4, so he's going to be a pretty happy camper to have pulled that off from 11th place.
Yeah, and then Gerlof de Vries in 5th. Mirko Lapini is going to cross the line in 6th position. And and look who the first driver to leave the server was. Kian White. I wonder whether he's absolutely furious that he didn't win that.
Well, he gave it absolutely everything. It was a stunning drive pace-wise. We did, we raised our eyebrows more than a little at the unconventional pit entry from the apex of the final chicane. But what a drive. I think, Mr. Leonov and Mr. White have really treated us to a sensational afternoon of racing in pro. We have some good races. Wow, a 1/4 of a second gap on the final lap. And Leonov just timed that to perfection. That was really, really, really something to see. Pleasure to be here, and thank you very much for having me on board to assist you with commentating, Joshua.
That's absolutely fine. It was a thrilling one, and I should also thank, as well as you, David O'Reilly, Peter Schulze, who was also giving us updates throughout the races, and Victor Korn, our cameraman, who was trying to keep up with our hectic ramblings throughout this race, and from what I saw, doing a good job of it. And also the drivers. What a race that was! And it was Ivan Leonov who brought it home in 1st position, followed by Kian White, Luca D'Amelio, Cameron Roger, Gerlof de Vries, Mirko Lapini, Kostas Galanomatis, Tom Lomberts, who's now not going to front with, Francesco Morante, who was just collided with his teammate on the cool down lap. So the driver's being a bit silly after the race, but that's fine. Better than during it. Arik Kulak is 10th, followed by Roma Tissin, Matthew Toussaint, Indrek Bremetz, Michael Wilson. Jan Beasley claims the final point in 15th position. And then outside of the points, 2 laps down, was Frank Godrecki, the final finisher. And then we have a whole heap of non-finishers. Let's count this. We've got 6, 9, 12, oh my word, 14 non-finishers. So a real race for attrition. And they were Polymaros Sarantidis with an engine failure, Gerard Batalla, Jordi Salvado, Yushim van Loderenberg, Mihailo Vincendojevic, Fabio Kuna, Jan Bosnica, Jackson Wendt, Kev Brooks, Lawrence Doherty, David Santos, Edward Batalla, Tank Applegate, and the biggest one of the lot, going into this round, our championship leader, Tiziano Brioni, who was our first retirement, and that will give the championship lead, I calculate, to, and this is just a brief calculation, so don't take my word for it, I think that now leading the championship is Luca D'Amelio.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. So I was just going to say, ladies and gentlemen, if you've, we hope you've enjoyed this fantastic broadcast. If you're interested in getting involved with Formula Sim Racing, all you need is the unbelievable rFactor 2 simulation and a wheel and pedals. The mod is free to download, so the tracks are free to download, so you can jump in the same cars that your heroes drive and compare lap times. And if you want to get involved, go onto formulasimracing.net and have a look and come and race against some of the best drivers in the world. And of course, in about an hour's time, or less than an hour's time, we'll have our ACE race, which is the next division up. And of course, the blue ribbon event of the weekend is later on this afternoon. We'll have the World Championship competition where the best drivers in the world will compete over 70 laps.
Fantastic. Yeah, join us later today for those commentaries and those races and those broadcasts. And they're sure to be fantastic ones. Normally, I oversee the ACE race as a commentator. I won't be there today, but who will be there is Felix Van Delft, and he will be seeing you through that broadcast. I believe there will be a couple of others there as well. But anyway, that is the end of this broadcast, and well, we'll see you very, very shortly for the ACE race. So even quicker cars, and well, if we get an even better race than that one, then I'm sure I'm going to spontaneously combust.
Hey man, I got that new 10Max Thrustmaster wheel. It's going down.
Xbox One?
I can't wait to play when I get home.
Yo, let me play.
Yeah, I play first.
I'll race you for it.
Well, I have a hand.